Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to some more Midwest Championship Series Rocket League. Ori and I are on a beautiful Saturday afternoon, 3 o'clock as normal, or actually on time for once. It is 2:59 on the dot. Heck yeah, well done, guys. Good job. But we got two matches to show for you today, and in the first one, it'll be an interesting series because it's two very good teams, and the second one will also feature some very good teams. So we really got treated for the two matches that I am able to stream, but do have to hop off and play my own match after this. So hopefully it's over quick and I get a warm up. But regardless, Ori, should be a blast.
Yeah, it should be, and this isn't the only important match that we've had this week. I think every single match really this week, I think quick said it in the Rising Star stream, but you have a lot better idea of, what's at stake towards the end of the season. This is the last regular just game day we have, and all these teams across all the leagues and in Premier, from the 12th, 11th place team all the way up to the 4th place, it's within arm's reach considering how the points are for this major. And you're going to have so you're going to have 8 teams be knocked out right off the bat, and that just leaves so much that can happen with certain teams falling out of qualification, certain teams going into qualification. So a lot rides in this match. Getting that extra little 5 points going into the major can do a lot. And speaking of how important this match is, it is unfortunate that Atlas are playing with a sub for Ambrosia.
Yeah, and those are the two matches we'll have. We'll have the Superiors taking on the Atlas, the Senators taking on the Steelhawks, and no Ambrosia for Mankato. So see what sub direction they go there. They've got 3 solid options. So we'll see what decision they decide to make. But those are the 2 matches we'll have. The other 2 will be off stream. Can't fit them in. Doesn't matter at the same time. I kind of guessed as to who's playing for Mankato. They didn't tell me, but I would assume Fusion, Bleach, Night Fang, and I believe Tox will be the sub. I'm thinking that's what Ambrosia said to me way back when, but these teams haven't played since June 22nd, so it's been a long break for them, and that's 9 days under a month, so way back when Duluth coming off of a loss technically against the St. Cloud Flyers. Do not know if their full roster was there for that. I know they've been iffy about that, but regardless, Mankato coming off of a win. So I don't know. We'll see what happens between these two, but I assume this will be our starting lineups. That's what I'm guessing, Ori. If anything changes, we'll see what ends up happening, but should be fairly interesting. We'll jump back over to us for some short predictions. Actually, no, we can talk about points. We can talk about standings currently. I forgot to change those. Here we go. There we go. We can talk about standings for a little bit. Green Bay sitting on top at 71 points. They are currently, looking at the standings, 10-5 on the season. Burnsville at 10-4. Mankato is 12-2 in league play. This might be the day, Ori, where they go 12-3.
Yeah, anything can happen, especially when you have that month-long thing. If Ambrosia was very clear that, he was gonna be not there for this week, and they couldn't reschedule if they had to go with their sub. Maybe they had some extra time. Like, just 1 or 2 extra scrims helps a lot in your odds to beat a team, especially when this roster has been able to put up such a good record in the regular season. It's something to look out for, but then again, the loose full roster, it's Premier. It's really high level. It just comes down to who's going to be playing better, who's going to be making the right choices, and I think that the gap between these teams, even with a sub, isn't tremendous to where it's going to be like, oh, for sure this team wins, or oh, for sure that team wins. So, we are in schedule right now, Stewie, but sometimes teams take a little
longer than usual, to get in here. But top 8 advances to that in-person tournament. 9th through 16th is eliminated. So Duluth on the chopping block at 40 points, but with a win here, they would move up if St. Paul loses, due to them having a better game differential than St. Paul does. But St. Paul does have an edge on them in 5 points. But that is the cutoff. And Mankato sitting happily in third, Omaha chasing their tail, Fargo chasing Omaha's tail along with Des Moines, and St. Cloud and St. Paul on the cut. Other than that, they are qualified for that tournament right now if it were to end. But speaking of that tournament, we can talk about the format super quick. We're getting close to that LAN, and we've got a major still left. You got major 2 next weekend, Dory, and then the weekend after that, it's a double weekend tournament. But this is week 10, final week of the season, so it shouldn't be anything but that LAN coming up in August, and it's kind of a break after that major 2, Ori, but it's not too bad. I mean, the 27th of July is it'll roll around pretty quick here, and it's technically 2 weeks away, so that'll be technically the final sequence of matches before we get to that in-person tournament. After that weekend is done, that will determine who is the final standings and who is able to get through. But speaking of major number 2 here, the points that you get for each individual placement, first place gets 71 points. So we just showed that Green Bay has 71 points. They could get their equivalent amount of points right now after 10 weeks of the season if they just won the major, which is very possible, right. But we'll see what happens. Second place gets 50, third, fourth, 30, 20, 10, 5, and nothing for dead last. Swiss format into a single elimination bracket. Top 8 advances, obviously, because of Swiss. That's how Swiss works, but that will lead into that major number 2. We'll jump back over to us super quickly for our predictions. Mankato, I'm not liking how they're looking right now. We'll see what happens if they get into this series or not. They are missing one. Night Fang said they were missing one, and they're waiting on somebody. Other than that, with Duluth's full roster here, despite Mankato's great record and no Ambrosia, I'm gonna go Duluth here in this scenario, and I'm probably gonna be a sweep.
I think it'll lean in the favor of Duluth, but I don't think it's gonna be a sweep. I think Atlas will take one game.
Gonna give them a free one, basically, but no idea what's
maybe
happening.
maybe we don't even have to cast a game. Maybe they just don't show up.
I don't know. They got technically. Do
you put the lobby up at like
what
6?
is it? Yeah, I put the lobby up at 3. They have what? I have to check the rule book, but get the main menu for that. I do not need to be in the main menu for that. I don't know why I said that, but I have to check the thing. 10 minutes after they lose game 1, so they're technically, what did I send it? I sent it at 2:55, but even then it starts at 3, so 3:10, they have 2 minutes before they're down game 1, and then 20 minutes for the whole series. So we'll see what happens. Might be looking at a 1-0 advantage for Duluth to start off, which is fine, but these things happen.
They do. And maybe you never know why the reason might be. It might be because their sub maybe isn't working out, but regardless, it's not looking good. They're already I've done this before though, where I try to wait as long as humanly possible before I join a match, because you have to have the other team sit in the menu, kind of staring at the screen, so it kind of ices them up a little bit. You might be able to catch them off guard for the first first game maybe, but unless it is very possible that they might just not be joining at all, and that might just be maybe a sub issue. Maybe they just decided that they might just take a forfeit instead, or, you know, hey, we need you to sub, and hey, I already had plans, and they just kind of be like, oh, I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world if they take a forfeit here. There's a reason why they've gone really well in the regular season, 12-2, and the roster that they have. I don't think that them losing out on 5 points here, I don't think it definitely, you definitely want to prefer to win, but they're still going to be able to be at worst 4th place going into the Swiss, and that's still a really good seed to have going into that first round of Swiss, getting that first game, or that first series win in Swiss, going 1-0. So
yeah,
you know, if they do forfeit it, like I said, it's not like it's gonna hurt them that bad.
Yeah, and just again waiting on them and their, you know, their whole thing. We'll see what ends up happening, but yeah, I guess, Ori, you've been playing quite a bit this season. I've delved into pretty much every single league. Yeah, you have delved into every single league. Every single league
for a little bit. Yep.
What do you think the most competitive league is?
In terms of skill,
like in terms of skill, it's obviously Premier, but
it's obviously Premier.
In terms of like overall, how the league feels competitive wise,
I think that I would say in years past it's felt like Premier, but just because there's been so many like entire rosters in Premier that kind of just quit. Like, we've had how many people just leave Premier mid-season, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of felt a bit chalk in that regard. And the same thing happened in Rising Star. We had an entire team leave. We've had a couple players that just kind of drop out mid-season without saying much. So right now for me, Challenger, just because people are staying in it, they're staying committed to it, and you've had a lot of people, like, not even me, you had like Y Busy that kind of did his GM kind of did the same thing, where he's playing Premier, where he's playing Rising Star and Challenger, and he's doing a lot better of a job at it than I am, to be honest. I mean, every time, the one time I played him in Challenger, he absolutely destroyed me. But you're having, it's not just me and Y Busy, those are people that are kind of in that in between of Rising Star and Challenger. They get their shot in Challenger and they're making an impact, so kind of a lot of that has made it also feel more competitive, because no spot's ever safe on a roster or in standings. So it feels like Challenger has been the one to look out for, just because you've had people stay in. There's no one leaving midway through or retiring. It's been a very consistent, competitive league.
And yeah, I mean, they technically have till 3:20, so they got 8 minutes. Where Ori and I are just gonna sit here and just stall until then. Just making sure that everybody's on the same page. But I mean, Ori, I you know, going back to, you know what we'll talk about. We'll talk about the standings.
What should we talk about?
The standings.
Talk about the stand again.
Going back to the standings. Yeah, we'll talk about them again. So
holy moly.
So going back to the standings, you know, you got Duluth at 40. They're in 9th. I mean, if they win this series, they would go up, obviously, because they would get the forfeit win. But also, St. Paul does play against Fargo, who Fargo's in 5th, and they have 5 more points than them. St. Paul could close the gap between Fargo. We didn't talk about that. The fact that one of those teams is going to move down or up depending on what happens here. But looking at also the record too for Fargo, they're 10-4 on the season. They're having a pretty darn good season for looking at the start that they had. I mean, what in the world happened to that roster at the beginning of the season? It was like week 1 where they were making changes. I don't know what the deal was there, but
score update, Des Moines, I think forfeit. Oh no, that was rescheduled to earlier.
Yeah, Des Moines did beat Green Bay. Indeed. So
it's looking like it's going to be a forfeit, and even if it's not, I just don't believe Mankato is going to win, being 1-0 down already. Omaha versus St. Cloud, Bloomington versus Rochester, St. Paul versus Fargo. St. Paul versus Fargo is supposedly going to be the next on-stream game if it's not another forfeit. Hopefully it's not.
Yeah, but, I don't think it will be. I'm 100% sure those guys have their rosters, but
the Omaha versus St. Cloud game off stream is really interesting. That's 7th place versus 4th, and St. Cloud has an opportunity to jump from 7th to 5th because of game differential. So that's a big opportunity there, Fargo, and then that'll also be pending the Fargo versus St. Paul game, where you have Fargo, who is 5th, St. Paul, who's 8th. Another matchup where that matters a lot for both teams. The last week of the season matters so much because you have all these teams that are bunched up between 5 points of each other, and certain teams playing certain teams. You can jump up a bunch, or you can win and stay in kind of the same spot depending on who wins and who loses. It's a whole domino effect.
And we didn't talk about, Ori, the fact that if Mankato does forfeit this, they will, I don't know, not only give another team a smaller gap between them, but it could change their matchup for depending on what Omaha does today and what Fargo does today. But Fargo can't catch them. But depending on what Omaha does today, it could change Mankato's matchup for that major, because major 2, the Swiss, is determined by what seed you are. Your seed determines who you play. Well, what I'm looking at right now is Hibbing is the 13 seed. If the things line up how I think they might, Mankato could run into Hibbing round 1 of Swiss. And what happened in Major 1? Round 1. Mankato lost to Hibbing, and I believe a game 7 or a 6-game series, one of the two.
Now the thing is
and that was the monumental upset.
It's a Swiss format. This is why I love Swiss for a thing like this.
Obviously, you got to lose 3 times. Yeah.
I'm glad that we decided to get rid of play-ins and just do a major with a lot of points, because people complain about major 2, if you win it you get a bunch of points, but like this it was worse with play-ins because it wasn't any points. It's just whoever won, whoever lost. It didn't matter at all the other season. So I mean, when you have, and then you have all 16 teams in playing, so like it's not just like this in these standings with Premier either. You look at Challenger, you look at from Burnsville, who is 12th, who has 40 points, all the way up to 3rd Bemidji, who has 55. That is a 15-point gap separating 12th from 3rd, which is absolutely ridiculous. And you go into Rising Star, and it's the same story. You go from 12th, 35 points, all the way up to 4th, it's 55. It's a 15-point gap. Those are point gaps in Major 2 where maybe you have those middle teams, maybe you have one go 1-3, because there are going to be a bunch of middle teams that are fighting for those spots playing each other, and you're going to have these bottom teams who are hungry. Like I know in Rising Star that St. Cloud Omaha beat St. Cloud. You've had a lot of lower teams taking it to higher teams. I think St. Paul put up a good fight last time there was a stream, and then it's
and Des Moines starting to Des Moines and Rising Star starting to really take over. They beat Green Bay the other night. So really anything's possible. And like I mean, like you mentioned, between 12th and 4th place, it is kind of the same gap. I think the closest is Challenger, but Challenger has like a pretty much a 3-way tie for the 8th spot, and there's a 3-way tie for the 4th spot. So really anything is possible. And after it's all said and done, Rochester sitting on top and St. Paul trying to catch them. St. Paul needs a good major in order to catch them. Granted, there is obviously there's a difference when it comes to what seed you're getting for a different seed you're getting for that play-in or the LAN, excuse me.
Or the LAN, yeah.
Yeah, but even then, like LAN is, you're wanting a higher seed for LAN. You want to be in the top
Because you can
Top four, I
qualify and go to
believe it is.
LAN as an 8th place seed, right? But then you're playing against the 1st seed, and you also only have 1 life. So we have 8 teams, yes, but those top 4 teams have 2 lives, and then again, like, you can qualify, you can go in as 8th, but then what, you have to play the 1st seeded team right away, and that could be your only series you play that LAN, and for some teams it might. For some teams, they might be grateful. Like, you start out, your season is bad. You start out really low, and then you work your way up, and you qualify for LAN. And that in and of itself sometimes is an accomplishment. But
they got a roster. They got a team here, and they're on time. They are 1 minute shy.
Oh my goodness gracious!
I don't know how they did it, but I guess we're gonna have a series on our hands, friends.
Oh, this roster.
Yeah, this will be an interesting roster. I don't know who Hugh is. I don't know. Okay, there's Wesley. I don't know who Hugh is.
I picked him up as a sub in Rising Star.
I know Buster James is a Rising Star player, and I know Nightfang is the only Premier player on that roster. Granted,
So
we have seen Premier teams lose before with their full roster against a Rising Star and a Challenger player in the past, so really anything is possible here. But
I've won in Premier. I've won a series in Premier before. It's possible. Anything can happen. It's definitely
possible. And
I mean, I was playing with two other Premier players. This is a 3rd round Premier player with a 3rd round Rising Star player, and I don't know where Buster James is in terms of.
I believe Rising Star.
It is a team, and they are playing, so you have to give them credit to that. But I mean, so far, Stewie, they're holding their own. 0-0 start so far, and I think both teams kind of just finding their way into this game, kind of just getting settled from that long break that we had.
Yeah, and obviously with that extended break, you had time to, put your team together, but also really do what you want. As Chicken gets an entire outplay, beats the whole team. Buster James, though, good recovery. Nightfang will challenge, and that's a great clear down the field, and that one's just gonna go in, and Mankato's gonna score first.
A bit of a double commit there. Last man. I think last man committed, thinking that second would have rotated back. Second man actually cut the play, double commit, and they lose the 50. Open net. And I'm telling you, some of these Rising Star players, you can't be sleeping on them. They do things when you least expect it. Open net off the kickoff. Wesley will put it away, and Superior strike right back.
And Wesley, pretty happy about that one in the cams. Chicken with a beat on the ball. Free shot for Wesley. Nightfang can't get back, and that will tie us up at 1 goal apiece. And heck of a job off that kickoff to win that. But this is a fairly interesting series so far. We're starting as late as we possibly want, and as a result,
why did you have to say anything about being on time?
Yeah, why did I say anything? Because it just jinxed us entirely.
Yeah.
As Wesley looks for a double, cut out by Nightfang. Follow-up is there. Nightfang has to sit on that. No boost. We'll flick forward. Chicken and Wesley gonna double commit the ball. And they'll end up getting a double out of it into that corner and putting more pressure on the Mankato Atlas.
I think the biggest thing we're going to see is we're just going to see Superiors get away with a lot of stuff because Atlas's squad as a whole just aren't going to be fast enough and aware enough to realize when they can capitalize on mistakes that Superiors make.
Ooh.
And they're going to, when there's a speed difference, you're just going to have to respect some players. You realize that your beat you can't go, and every single time Superiors realize that they have a beat, that they have space, they have time, they're going to use it to their full advantage. Them on the back line here, maybe clearing some of the way, but Nightfang quick on the ball, not allowing any attack to be brewing. Almost a bump. Chicken was the last man. That would have been detrimental. Goes the wrong way for Buster, but Hugh is stunked by Wesley. Now dropping down in front of the Nightfang dunked. It pops up dangerously in front, but no one's there for his big chip across, but it's cleared away by Nightfang. Right in the hands of Wesley to this corner. Only 1-1 still. Superiors looking to strike here. They've had pressure for a while, but ends up in their corner now. Four is trying to get something going, and Superior is just, it doesn't look like they're playing at 100%, but nonetheless, their attacks still do look threatening.
Yeah, and I'm trying to figure out who Hugh is. I think it might be Atmint. That's what they signed up with, so I don't know if it's him or not. But I mean, this is a pretty close game so far. One goal apiece, and neither team willing to give an inch. Wesley off the sidewall. There's one more touch. Chicken pop to himself. Will be shut down by Nightfang. Hugh with the save. We'll give it a right to Forrest, though. Chicken just waiting on the backboard, waiting for Forrest to turn on that, hit it to him, and it doesn't ever really come. So, you know, waiting on something that doesn't ever show up is a little bit difficult as Wesley's off the ceiling. That clear is going to go down the field. Nightfang is there to turn it away. Chicken's touch does get away from him, and Nightfang and Hugh kind of run into each other. There was an open net for a second, Ori, but it was closed down quick by Duluth, and a good job by them to do that.
What an air dribble. Gets past the entire defense, baits them all out. Nightfang goes missing. Buster now has to make the touch and does, but not able to get it out of their own half yet. Big pinch coming out, though. Makes him awkward. Almost puts it back into his own net. Wesley, though, there to save him. Pinch back the other way. Chicken trying to follow this one up. Hugh a bit awkward in the corner. Manages to do well on the touch, though. Wesley trying to play this one out to his teammate. Forrest opts not to go. Doesn't want to overcommit. Only just under 40 seconds left now. Pretty much golden goal territory. That's dangerous, but nobody's there. Triple commit on the side of Duluth.
Oh, Nightfang.
Respect on that. Manages to get the boost out from Wesley despite being so awkward. Hugh, big beat. Forrest last back gets bumped out. Chicken, though, there. Zero boost manages to get it around the last defender. 18 seconds now. Atlas mounting a very dangerous attack very well. Could be the game winner if they get it. Chicken, again, still zero. Able to get the clear out. Buster towards the corner. Not able to get the power maybe he wanted. Towards the ceiling, though. It's awkward for this wall and that clear. We might be heading to overtime in game 2, Stewie.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention that it is 1-0. So this is technically game 2. So I forgot to put that up there. But yeah, it is 1-0 due to Alice not being on time. So this is their chance to tie it up. And we're going into an overtime that they have a chance to win. I mean, bringing this team to an overtime is not an easy task. So we'll see what we get out of the Mankato Atlas. That one going to omit. Buster James pops it, and the pump comes out. Nightfang looked for it, and Hugh going to commit to that. And Ori, that one got sketchy a little bit, and Nightfang almost made the play that secured Atlas the game.
And Buster caught out. Just caught Superiors with their pants down. This is dangerous here. No boost, and that's going to be the end of that overtime, but not despite its woes. Atlas there looked potent for a second. If that bump came through, could have been 1-1, but now you're having to ask Atlas, who's playing with 2 subs and a 3rd round premier pick, to reverse sweep Superiors with their full roster, Stewie. I don't think there's ever been a bigger it's never 0, right? But you're better off probably buying a Powerball ticket.
Yeah, and obviously it is 2-0, so Duluth with the 1 game advantage will be up 2-0, and we're gonna jump over to DFH Stadium. But yeah, 2-0 advantage for Duluth after winning that game that was technically game 2. We'll move to game number 3, but I mean, a good job though by Mankato to keep that one scrappy. And I mean, shout out to them for getting a roster on the field. That is not easy. You're running out of time, and it's tough. It really is. But
less than a minute left.
Yeah, I mean, they really did a good job of keeping things scrappy. But 5 saves for Nightfang, 4 for Chicken, 2 for Wesley, and 2 for Hugh. As should be fairly interesting.
And you know, we took a late start, and we had to go through an overtime. You know, it could go on even longer if Atlas decides that they want to try to reverse sweep, and maybe they succeed. If Atlas, I will say, if Atlas do reverse sweep, I will go out and actually buy a lottery ticket. I'm not even kidding.
It might be the day for it.
It might be, because if this is the universe we live in, where the stars align for Atlas to reverse sweep, then it might be the stars align for a lottery ticket, because both are pretty crazy. But Atlas starting out looking a bit shaky, double whiffs, and you can't get back. 4 is striking right away, 1-0.
Yeah, and big miss for Nightfang, no boost. Buster James not expecting that. The 50 gonna go right in. Hugh can't read it, and Yeah, that was a really, really, really disgusting goal to start. 1-0 advantage for Duluth and 2-0 in the series. We'll see what they bring in this game number 3. Can Mankato get one more than just one on the board? As Force's touch will go off the sidewall, we'll get the double. Gives it right to Nightfang, though. A lot of time and a lot of boost. The pre-jump from Wesley is going to be on target, and Wesley read that one like a book.
And it seems that Superior's... I was correct. Sitting in that menu for such a long time kind of just ices you up, but looks like they've gotten back into the swing of things. Wesley absolutely disrespectful pre-jump there, and it snipes the net 2-0. Not completely down and out if you're an Atlas fan here. Still so much time left, but that can be a blessing and a curse. Wesley cut off by Nightfang. Tries to pinch it towards net, but blocked away. Hugh now trying to get some pressure going. Makes the defense awkward, but big beat by Force. Gets the second touch sidewall going towards net, but Hugh will be there. Wesley's pre-jump not able to find the mark. Chicken. Your second man opts to leave it. It just falls from the ceiling. I have no idea where he was challenging that one from, but gets the 50. Buster now off the wall, not quite having the boost. Chicken, not much himself, manages to get the clear downfield. Fours, beautiful touch out. Nightfang's ready for it. That's still floating dangerously towards net, but he gets the clear out, keeping his hopes alive with just under 4 minutes left to go.
Yeah, lots of time still left for Mankato to maybe get going, but Fours is off the sidewall. And yeah, they're pretty much just styling at this point. They do not care. Wesley, good touch. Fours jumps up, bar down and in, and nothing Mankato can even do to stop that one.
111 kph even after the crossbar bounce.
Yeah, that was a rocket. 3-0, 37. And yeah, this is 4. Oh boy, this one might be over quick.
Today is not the day that I go and buy a lottery ticket, unfortunately.
No, it is not. Don't gamble, kids. Bad for your health, and bad for your mental,
and for your bank account. Not really the best, but you know what is good for your bank account is the reward you get for winning land, Stewie.
Yeah.
Do we? Are you waiting to reveal the prize for each?
I am waiting to reveal it because it's constantly changing.
I see.
It is like every other day it changes. So we'll see what happens. But I mean, Mankato, can they just get one? Duluth gave them one in the first game. Just give them one, guys. Just give them one.
A game. Suey. They almost did that bump. If that bump from Knife, I'm telling you, if that bump from Knifing actually connected fully,
it'd be a 1-1. Yeah, it was. I agree. Duluth was pretty darn close to losing that game, but this one is all Duluth, and I mean, Mankato played a pretty good game too. This game 3 though is spiraling out of control. Duluth really just said, "Fine, we'll just bend it now." We got them finally beat. As I mean, this is just a ragtag group of Atlas players that are on the table here, but Mankato, no idea where they're at today. Obviously, maybe forgetting, guys, that we have a match today. We do have to play. This is match week. This is our final week of the season. There are games. I mean, yeah, like we had such a long break, people kind of fell asleep. What the deal is, guys? Wake up! It's time to play Rocket League.
And that's what's so interesting about this week too, is it's really important for standings, but now you can really see after that break, maybe some newer rosters that were formed as they get more time to kind of scrim and mesh.
They're good,
who the newer teams are, who maybe the new you have a lower seeded team as maybe out of the 9th, 8th place contention at the moment, but they're beating people that are high up in the standings. They're putting really good results in, and it's that Swiss format is just gonna be crazy for that, because you're gonna maybe have a lower seeded team that is just performing really well after that break, after maybe they get their rosters after the rosters fully mesh, and there's a lot of potential for upsets. There's a lot of it's gonna be brutal, because you also have some lower teams who feel like that, those 8th, 7th, 6th seeded teams that feel like they should be making it through day 2, they should be able to qualify, they're in a good spot for it, but they could get screwed over by higher teams losing to some lower teams, and now they're having to fight for their life in that major too. But
yeah, And you don't want to be relying on Major 2 to end, be the savior of your seasons.
Right.
It's a heck of a save by Nightfang on the inside post. I mean, down 6-0. Still giving it his all. I mean, gotta tip the cap to Mankato for getting a roster on the field, getting us a match. So, I mean, honestly, sometimes you really can't do much about your teammates not being available on the day, but able to get on the field and get a match in at least. You're at least getting that experience if you're Hugh and Buster James of what kind of level is Premier at, and what does it feel like as flip reset chance for Nightfang. Maybe thought they would give it to him for the Brazil. No respect though from the Superiors, as they are technically defending MCS champions from last season. One player left on that roster in 4s, and he has 2 brand new teammates so far this season. I mean, sitting in 9th, possibly going to 8th, depending on what the next series is like. Honestly, it'll be interesting what that's like. But yeah, we'll see what we get out of this Duluth team if they make LAN. I feel like if they make LAN, they'll be a pretty good roster. But again, if they make LAN, as we have got the Brazil. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Buster James, 31 seconds to go, does put the Brazil in.
It was off a good challenge in the midfield, too. And, I mean, with all the scoring, Stu, we basically played a best of 7 at this point. It's a best of 7 sweep. We've spent a lot of time looking at these goal replays that it's added up. This match is actually really long. Plus the overtime we played. And I just think that we have to make it a rule that we can't ever say if we're on schedule or not, because if we ever do, like, oh, we're actually on schedule and this happens.
Yeah. And, I mean...
Oh.
They're going to ruin it. 8-1. As they're going to put in 8. And, yeah. This one probably done and dusted. We're going to move on and look at the next series. Sorry. No more of this one.
And next series is at 3:45, so small break between this and next series, hopefully. St. Paul versus Fargo.
Should be a good one.
Stream. Off stream, we have Bloomington versus Rochester, Omaha versus St. Cloud. Already talked over earlier that St. Cloud match is going to be important. That the Steelhawks match is going to be important, the one we're going to be on stream with. And then Bloomington versus Rochester as well. All these teams that are going up against each other in this next set of matches are all within around 3 or 4, spots of each other. Mm-hmm. So really, really tight contention, really tight points here. And it can, again, domino effect. You can have teams that move up and down so much, and just that first round of Swiss to start out 1-0 or 0-1 can dictate so much. You start out with that 1-0. Just gives you such a nice cushion, because next series, maybe if it's against a tougher team in the uppers, you can afford to, not have to sweat if you lose it. And if you go down 0-1 and then you go up against a tougher team, you might have to deal with having to reverse sweep the Swiss, and it's just not a good spot you want to be in. And it just matters so much. All those little seedings, all those little things just add up.
Yeah, and it's currently getting set up for the next series, but we'll have a little bit of a break just to get set up. But other than that, it shouldn't take me too long. As Duluth getting a pretty easy win there, a simple one at that. But honestly, shout out to Mankato though for getting a roster on the field. Is tough indeed. But we'll move on to that next series. The stats are going to be screwed up. Yeah. I was thinking about that. The stats are going to be very screwed up, but regardless, you've got, that Senators team. I did write 3 on it. Didn't save. No, not that one. This one. Got 3-0. There you go. Superiors did beat, the Atlas in 3, and then we've got the Senators, Steelhawks, the other 2 hour stream. Blah, 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 blah. We'll move on, and we'll throw it to a short break. Ori, I've got nothing else to say. Do you have anything else to say before we jump onto a break?
Nope.
Good. All right, we're going to break. All right, friends. We'll see when the next match comes up. We promise this one will not take as long to start. I promise you it won't, because I know both of these teams have their full rosters. But regardless, Don't go anywhere. We'll have a good one coming up for you.
Nothing can stop me, I'm all the way up.
Both teams have played a near perfect game. Slip gets called up. Papo's not going to get enough pressure. Forced to take over. He can't win his challenge. Slip upfield. Prussia decides to back off. Oh, there's 2 whips in front, but Slip isn't ready. And the Magic are going to miraculously get away with one.
Yeah, that was almost an own goal of epic proportions. There was like 3 wrong touches there for the Minneapolis side, but they're able to survive. Now Slip gets the reset off the crossbar, and Slip.
My word. Like a grease pig, he slides through the defense.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, for the extended break. Regardless, Ori and I are back to bring you a series between the Senators and the Steelhawks. Took a little bit longer because we had to set up a server for somebody who is playing from a remote location. So we needed to make sure we were on the right server for them so they had the best opportunity to play. But regardless, we are good to go. Ori, this series should be a good one. You got the Steelhawks and the Senators. I'm leaning towards the Steelhawks. I mean, despite Dorka being on a higher ping, I still like what I see from the Steelhawks roster. They're pretty darn good when they're on their day. And Senators, they've been a little inconsistent for me. I don't know. I don't feel like I can jump on that train just yet.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at, I always like to look at the rosters. Ches, Fuego, Remzik. That's always going to be a squad that's going to spark some fear into people. And Crispy and Sean, also a squad that's also good. Just these people have been around. They've proven themselves. You know, am I wrong for saying that both sides feel like, you know, strong players that we've seen perform well? So, I said last series that it'll just be kind of whoever is on that day. Before I knew that they were playing with two Rising Star people, but I think this one especially, St. Paul's inconsistent. Maybe that break they were able to scrim. Able to kind of mesh their team better, and same can be said for Fargo, these teams are not very far apart in the standings at all.
No,
St.
they're
Paul sitting 8th,
yeah.
Fargo sitting 5th. There is a whole 5 points separating these two teams right now. So, yeah.
I'm gonna go Fargo in 4. Fargo in 4. I'm gonna go Fargo in 4. What are you thinking?
I like Steelhawks's I think the players there. I like Dorka, Fuego, and Remzik. Just saying that out loud just seems like a stronger squad. But in terms of results, you had Senators who performed well in that first major. They made it past 2 series to get those 10 points, but we'll see. I had to predict. I want to say Senators in hopefully 4.
Ooh,
so I can go get food.
big double
5.
commit there. Oh, that was a close chance. Go ahead, Ori. Sorry, I apologize for that.
I would say I realistically think it's gonna go to 5, but I just hope it doesn't. Right off the what a beautiful save from, and follow up, not their big lift, but 50'd out still. 2 players double committing, do get the ball out. Power of the team there on that 50, pinches out to the middle towards Crispy, backflip up. Fuego's the first one on it, brings it to the side. Well, Sean's there to meet him, not letting him get any more progress, but that 50's really well for him, gets the boost. Still's on this and gets the bump, and gets another one. Dorka maybe to center. Can't quite find it. Such a good effort, though, from Fuego. So much value in that play. Minute into the game, and Steelhawks looking to pounce and get that 1-goal lead.
Yeah, Dorka midfield, trying to drop it down. Remzik, a good forward touch. Sean going to sit on that backboard. Not a ton of boost. Empty in his tank, so lets it go. And Fuego going to touch it over the sidewall. Crispy will sit on that double commit for Remzik and Fuego. Is they're going to have to scramble back here. Steelhawks going to have to play a little bit of defense as Sean nearly picks the inside post. Fargo going to think that, thank their lucky stars for that one not being a little bit to the left, but it was on target. Fuego, I think, had the save regardless, but still a good opportunity for Senators right away on that infield pass. And if they want to score goals, they got to continue to do that. And so far, giving the Steelhawks a little bit of problems, but a great 50 pinch from Dorka will get them out.
Nice pass, but maybe just hit a bit too wide. The striker was not there for it. Dorka can't quite get it past Crispy now. Fuego trying to get this one out. Big beats 2 and has an open net. And beautiful play by Crispy there to beat those 2 players. Caught Fuego awkward. Remzik trying to help out, but that pinch just perfectly placed and end with every single last boost that he has is able to get the shot and goal.
And I mean, a good start for St. Paul is a touch off the backboard. Chance for Crispy to sit on that one. Fuego will get that save. Dorka is going to tip it away and can't really stay on that. Can't get a double as a result. Remzik will take over into that corner. Get his corner boost. Sean looking for 1 touch forward. Remzik and Fuego going to double commit and cut that one out. And we'll see how Dorka plays in this roster. No Ches, so likely no physical play. Is you're not going to see a ton of Fargo demos unless Remzik and Fuego decide to go on a hunting spree. But I think they're more worried about Ori, what Dorka's going to do, and also how they're going to play this ball, because Dorka, I believe, is on a higher ping. Regardless, Remzik, bottom left shot will catch St. Paul a little bit too far.
And would you expect anything else? Every single time I'm on this booth, I always go on about how game 1s are kind of really iffy, just because usually really high scoring games, you have teams that are maybe coming in cold. But these 2 teams, honestly, this is, I think, the exception. I would expect a close games in between these teams all the way through. We're seeing that now. Just both sides, they're both making mistakes and they're both doing good things. It's just whoever steps up, whoever's going to execute on their play the best, and not quite there. Crispy. Big clear out, maybe catching Steelhawks off guard. There was a demo, but just can't get the shot off fast enough. Fuego, as well, they recovered, but it's still not out of their half now. Sean trying to mount some pressure.
Oh,
holding on the midfield line really well. Player goes missing. Now they finally get it past the midfield line, but ends there to scoop it right back up, and they're still facing some pressure. Steelhawks, low boost. Remzik, the only one that really has anything. Can't quite get the second touch. Leaves it for Sean. Crispy there for the shot. Dorka, no boost. He decides to fake it and end. Will finish it off. What a beautiful play. Such a smart realization that the defender had 0 boost there from Crispy.
Yeah, and such deception on whether he's going to take that shot. Dorka falls for that fake. And not able to get back was that Steelhawks defense, and as a result, down by 1, a minute 24 still left. So you think they got a chance right off the kickoff. Fuego nearly catches Sean out a little bit too far forward. Dorka will sit on that 50. Can't get any more touches on the ball. Dorka, a previous Premier player from Season 6, made the grand finals with Fuego, and what was then the Minnetonka Barons. And
feels like forever that team was called the Barons.
It does. It feels like forever ago that happened. But Season 6, way back when, and since then, not seen too much of Dorka, and Fuego's kind of bounced from team to team. But regardless, we'll see what we get here. That is a monster bounce. Crispy will read it. Kind of give Fuego, though, a free touch, and not the best save there for Dork on that first touch into that corner. As a result, then gets the dunk and the corner boost steal, and looking to bump Remzik does, and 30 seconds still to go. Dorka goes missing on the ball, and this one's a tough one for Fargo to deal with. They got to get out here, Ori, and tie this game up.
Big pinch, almost caught end out there, and yeah.
Oh!
So much, no, just as you called for it, Dorka coming in clutch with that double tap, 50 in the midfield. Lego paving the way, bump, makes the defense awkward. Crispy can't get to it. Just a well-placed touch to that backboard, put it the one spot where Crispy just barely couldn't reach it. And now a tie game, 17 seconds left. Golden goal territory, I'd say that before, but Steelhawks proving me wrong. Crispy a bit awkward here. It's still dangerous for Senators right now. Fuego trying to center this one, gets a second touch. Crispy doing well to play patient, shot saved away. Big pinch downfield, and doesn't have any boost. Maybe he wants to keep it up. Remzik will let it hit the ground, and we have overtime.
I feel like this is where the series is made, where it's broken. If you're the Senators, if you don't get this one, I mean, it would not be good for the rest of the series goes, because I mean, you did have this one win, won, and you kind of gave Steelhawks some life. Can't expect them to really roll over and die as early as they did, but and we'll get that beat. Looks to bump Remzik, and does, and it won't be on target. Fuego has it away. Remzik in a really bad spot. No boost. Can't follow up. Sean wins game 1 for St. Paul. As I think my Discord just disconnected. That's why you're not hearing
Regulation.
Yeah. I think my Discord disconnected. That's why you weren't hearing you.
Oh, they weren't. You stopped talking, so I just kind of assumed that your microphone died or something. So I jumped.
Gotta love Discord. And well made thing for sure. But
at least it doesn't freeze your computer when you alt tab.
That's true.
Rocket League is really good at that.
Indeed. As we're gonna move on to game number 2, St. Paul up 1-0, and Ori. I mean, I don't know what to make of things. I mean, it'll be tough for sure to see what we get, out of this series so far.
Yeah, I mean, it's a close series. You were talking about St. Paul. They needed that overtime win because you feel like the momentum would have gotten away from them, and I 100% agree. I've had game ones where it feels like we won already, and then we concede some dumb goal towards the end, and then lose in overtime or lose in regulation. And you can say, all right, we're just going to go to the next game, act like it didn't happen, but you really need to like kind of get it out of your head, and it's usually takes a bit longer than just a quick minute to do that, so it can kind of wear you down. And the issue is with best of fives, right? If you're getting worn down in game 2 and you lose it, well, now all of a sudden you have to reverse sweep. You have absolutely no cushion to work with, and Senators maybe trying to look to put Steelhawks in a blender, the 2-0 blender, the reverse sweep blender, but Steelhawks maybe feel like they deserve that win, and maybe looking to fight out with some tenacity here, but not quite. And right off the rip, 5 seconds in, already scores.
Yeah, big pinch from Crispy, catching Dorka out along with Fuego, and 'twas a good shot for end, and tough for Dorka. I did see he was on 140 ping, so hopefully it stabilizes a little bit, but Dorka is playing from Peru, so interesting for sure. Never had that. Shout out Peru, yeah. Shout out Akron, shout out LeBron, shout out the world. Yes. 4 minutes and 40 still left to go. End into that corner. He hits a double. Sean rifles the ball right up behind him. And they don't really gain any sort of advantage on the field for that matter. So I guess you could say was all for nothing. As Dorka will 50 that with Crispy. Remzik will be beat to the ball. Just Fuego left back. We'll catch that. Good first touch for him. We'll play under 1. As they can't get back to the ball. Fuego runs out of boost and no teammates there to help him out.
And maybe looking to make it one more beautiful shot from Crispy. Rips it out. Just that 120 top bins. Just out of nowhere it seemed. Teammate miss. Kind of got the you can't even react to that. Remzik was there. He wasn't even able to jump in the time it took from it to go from his car to his net, and just nothing you can do about that really if you're the Steelhawks. Sender's up 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, this one, if your Fargo can't get away from you, otherwise the series will be done and dusted over quickly than it began. I mean, you'd be down 2-0, and St. Paul only getting better as the games go on. So, see what we get out of this 50 is going to go right back at Sean. Remzik will win that one. Dorka commits, double commit from St. Paul, and they're going to get out of it. Sean will have the clear. Fuego plays into his own corner, gets a double, steals the corner boost, and gets the pop touch forward, and gets St. Paul Fargo an offensive chance. Double for Remzik, tries to squeeze the line. The demo came in from Fuego. The line was open, and Remzik gave it everything he had. It just wouldn't bounce the right way.
But they will get...
Oh, no!
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
He was recovering, got bumped, was just stuck there. No boost. Had a flip, but you saw him try everything in his power to get out of the way of that ball, and he just couldn't.
As that was basically 3-0.
That is demoralizing from Steelhawks, and really the only thing you can do in this scenario is just try not to get tilted, you know. Playing with high ping in this game is really frustrating, and having that happen is also really frustrating. So it's just about staying focused. Fuego, though, maybe looking to repent for those missed open chances. Beautiful air dribble, gets it down the field, gets pressure. Ooh. There's a shot, but saved by Crispy. Not able to get the follow-up touch. Dangerous in the midfield here, but Crispy again. But to keep it contained. Steelhawks have some time, still just under 2.5 minutes left.
Definitely is. Yeah, you got some good chances here for the Fargo Steelhawks. Is trying to even this game up, get one back though, and cut it in half. But had some chances, aren't able to quite just yet put the ball into the net. I mean, they did have the open net that was probably should have been a goal if a little bit things just go a little bit differently. But a minute and 55 still left. They got plenty of time, but you got to find one before you get two. And down 2-0 in the series is not what you want to be if you're a Fargo fan or if you're just a Fargo player for sure. And going back to the 140 ping, I mean, it feels like you're reading things. As far as the game goes, the game is so far behind for what you're trying to read, and it's definitely tough. It really feels like you are in a scenario where you don't have a chance. As Fuego will pop that one up, can't get the flip reset chance though, and Remzik's follow-up will bounce super awkward. Fargo kind of caught out. Fuego though is on the rotation back, and that's good rotation from Fargo to keep them on an offensive chance.
This is rule 1. It's just a 1v1 ground pinch. Doesn't get it. This is the opportunity that Fargo need. They have a little bit more space to work with. Dorka can't get the ceiling pinch that he wanted. Maybe tried to hit that one up to the backboard for a double tap, but Crispy down the other end, flip reset, can't find it on target. And not only are your reads slower, but your inputs are slower. Whenever you're trying to wind up a power shot, you have to flip just a little bit early. Just your inputs are going to be delayed, whereas maybe on your screen you hit it at the perfect time. Since over 100 milliseconds behind, those inputs get delayed and your shot might not have any power.
Yeah, now you're playing twos.
Yeah, and now you're playing twos with 150 ping, and it's not going terribly, but you want it to go well. You need a goal. Just under 20 seconds. Bump off the play. Fuego there doesn't have any boost to really get back to it either. Dorka trying to get this one downfield. Crispy, low boost. Dorka trying to capitalize off of him being awkward. Big pinch up, but Crispy saves just enough boost. Fuego throwing everything he can at the net, and it just won't happen. 2-0 in the game, 2-0 in the series. Senators looking to just sweep Fargo out from under the rug.
Yeah, a tough one for sure. Is St. Paul in commanding fashion will go up 2-0, and very tough for them as they're gonna have another remake of the server. As I'm trying my best, guys. I promise. I promise I'm giving it everything I got to make sure the server works. But regardless, we'll put a new one up, and we'll hopefully get
Central.
Should I?
Because we can get a Texas, we can get a Dallas server, and that's closer to Peru because it's in South America.
I guess we'll try that. But regardless, 2-0 Senators, 2-0 in the game, 2-0 in the series. Ori, I think they've just been playing the more consistent game so far.
Yeah, and especially at this level, the trickle-down effect of one person maybe not playing at 100% does matter. Is it just the ping for Steelhawks? Probably not, but would the games maybe be closer? Would they have more wiggle room, maybe more chances to where maybe they could win a game? Yes. And I mean, with Rocket League, it's such a mood swingy game. Every little thing matters. So
yeah,
it never helps to have a player on that high of a ping, but I mean, they're going to just have to try their best. They're just going to have to work with what they have.
Yep.
And yeah, Dorcas ping is like 30 lower, but you're never really going to get that below 100 from how far away he's playing.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just unfortunate. I mean, I think you'd rather still have just your full team just because of those comms. The environment of the voice chat is going to be good, but 120 ping's rough. Remzik, big shot, huge power on that one. Well placed. Just kind of a recreation of what Crispy did just earlier on. Sean pre-jumped it and he still couldn't reach it. Just an absolute heater towards the net.
Yeah, and you know what? I think the new server is giving you a little bit of a buff. Has great 50-50 from Fuego, and that one will go into the midfield for that shot from Remzik. Remzik off the kickoff. Maybe got another one. And Starko will steal that corner boost from Crispy. Crispy going to have to rely on some other form of boost to supply him to get up to the ball, and as a result, End and Sean going to be tasked with getting St. Paul out of their half, and they do not rise to that occasion. And again, Fargo on the pressure. Can they get this 2-0 advantage? They might have caught St. Paul out for a little bit of a second, but again, tough to do when St. Paul's sitting so deep on their back line.
They're just playing patient. They know that, they have an initial advantage in this game. What a beautiful save from Fuego. I have no idea how he managed to read that shot.
Ooh.
Fuego off the double tap from the ceiling, but Crispy's there again. He's been I've been calling his name so much whenever it seems like they need an important clear or a touch on the defensive end. He's always been there. Beautiful 50 from Sean. Leaves it to End. High flying ball. Not quite hitting the ceiling. Pass maybe down to Crispy. They just can't connect. Counterattack opportunity for Steelhawks. Not enough boost really to go around though. End stalls out the counterattack. Sean goes missing. Remzik awkward from it. Carrying the ball. Trying to hold on to it. Crispy. Bit of a scramble here in the corner. No team really coming out with possession. End now finally clears it out. Maybe they got cut out though. That's just an open net. And what in the world happened with Senators here?
Yeah, it was End's touch forward just didn't go as far as I think Crispy thought it would, and Dorka was able to read it, cut it out, and a great touch down the field will give them a 2-0 advantage. And St. Paul, you can't be that far with your hand in the cookie jar because, I mean, you're going to get caught, and as a result, it's a 2-0 advantage for Fargo. And the last thing you want to be doing is giving Fargo life when you have them beat. Already down and out, 2-0, Ori. I mean, you got to put your foot down.
Yeah, you gotta kind of keep the same pace. You don't want to let up. Teams, I know it's the mentality that teams have when you're up, is that you kind of start to relax. You start to kind of use like, all right, we have a 2-game cushion. We just need to win one more. We don't need to be going for anything too risky. We don't need to maybe like focus as hard. We can kind of relax, not tire ourselves out. But if the other team's playing at 100% and you're trying to maybe relax a little bit, maybe let off, it can lead, and all of a sudden they can get momentum. And before you know it, you might be playing a game 5 or a game 7 where it feels like you could have just snuck one more out, but regardless, just under half the game left, and Senator's still a lot of time to work with. To get those 2 goals back, maybe send it to overtime, maybe win it in regulation, but I thought they were caught out again, but no, it's Crispy on the back line to keep them alive.
Yeah, I mean, you have to wonder, what happened to, obviously, Fargo. They've changed their scenario a little bit. Dorka double off the 120 ping. I mean, you can put him on lag all you want. It doesn't matter. That is such a good first touch and a great placement shot. I mean, heck of a job by Dorka. 3-0 Fargo.
Beautiful pass downfield for like an awkward corner touch. Found Dorka. And yeah, that first touch, I really don't think you could have gotten a better one if you tried again. Remzik flip reset, maybe to make it 4, but no, blocked away. Still, Senator's not down and out of it yet, but they're going to need one soon just for the medal. Let alone the scoreline end, can't make contact. Catches Steelhawks a bit awkward though, Remzik. Barreling through, gets the clear down over Sean. Dorka can't make contact. Crispy towards himself on the sidewall, can't get another touch. Finds the pass out to end towards the crossbar. Bar down and in, might have been helped by the defender, but regardless, they get their first goal of the game.
Heck of a job though by End. Gets that beat. Yeah. I think Remzik had it. Yeah, you can't let that one go through. Remzik had that one, hit it into his own net though, and as a result, you can't really let that one go through. As Remzik trying to get revenge, and he does go part down. It doesn't go in though. As End was the last one back, did not make contact on the ball. Dorka into that corner. Sean, not a ton of boost, but we'll be able to get that touch. And yeah, can't let that one go through if you're End there. Your buddy Remzik nearly got revenge.
I mean, I was more so saying you can't even really just sit there and not jump, because that's... I mean, maybe you can read it's not in, but when it's going towards the crossbar like that, I mean, it's Rocket League. All sorts of bounces can happen. You just want to be safe and just... Got on the wrong side of the ball. Will it matter, though, is the thing. I mean, it can be an unfortunate own goal, but it gets swept under the rug when you win 1-3 anyways. Sean, maybe to find the second goal. Anything can happen from this point. And towards the crossbar again. That first goal definitely was not a fluke. He snipes the same part of the crossbar, bar down and in this time.
I mean, heck of a placement by End as... that one will find its way through. And how in the world that one still bounced though off of that crossbar and the post story? It just made its way in. It wanted to go in. As this one gets a little bit closer, pop touch from Remzik, demo from on to Fuego. So Remzik's alone here. He will sit on the ball and we'll get that touch. And Dorka into that corner. 2 goals in this game to his name, keeping Fargo in this series. Sean though forward looks to press. St. Paul need one more as they're trying to tie this one up. Crispy, pop touch for End. End has 2 for St. Paul. Can he get 3? It won't be likely just yet. As Fuego and Dorka going to combine, find Remzik in the midfield. 8 seconds. Crispy has to keep this one up. Does do exactly that. Find Sean. It is shut down though. What a challenge. As that one's going to bounce. It will stay up for a second though. Dorka will kill it. Fargo is on the board.
That was, you couldn't see, at least from my perspective, where that challenge was coming from. It looked like he was caught out and the pass was going to go around him, but he reads where he was putting it and dunks him. If he doesn't make contact with that, if he gets caught out like that, it was an open shot. There's absolutely nobody that was going to be able to get back in time for that. But Steelhawks, by the skin of their teeth, off of an amazing effort from End, to keep that one close. They just, by the skin of their teeth, they win that game. And, I mean, Senators they look shaky for most of that match and stepped it up. If they're going to keep playing at this quality, maybe Steelhawks find another game, but all it takes is one game. All they have to do is do it one more time, Stewie, and that's the series. Yeah, and Fargo, I think, hoping to keep their momentum that they got in that last game. I mean, I think it got hairy at the end. I mean, I will say that. It was, it was close at the end as a great chance there for St. Paul to tie us up. But as a result, Fargo will move on and get one back and cut the deficit in half as right away Remzik once again on the kickoff will get the opening goal for Fargo. And Fargo are already starting up 1-0 in game 4. definitely where you want to be if you're them, you know, trying to come back in this series. You're going to need to... Yeah, if you win this one, you're right at game 5. It's right there, and you're playing in it, and another kickoff goal.
And it's looking likely. Remzik's got another. 7 seconds in, it's 2-0. Crispy they didn't read the kickoff, didn't read the bounce, and Fargo is speed running the St. Paul Senators.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. A good way of putting it is the speed run here, but maybe Sean a kickoff goal of his own, but no, Remzik well positioned on the back line. Flip reset downfield, can't find it. Big pinch out. Goes right to the hands of Crispy. It's a past one, but it's blocked away by Dorka. Right back to Sean, though. They're trying to press this out of their midfield line. Leaves it for end. Look for an air dribble bump after, but no one was up. Sean trying to leave this one for his teammate, maybe. Finds a touch up high, maybe towards the backboard before he goes to meet him. It's dangerous out in front. Crispy. His shot blocked. Ends follow up. Dorka can't get there, but it's not on target. Still pressure for Senators. They want their kickoff goals back. They won't find the second touch, though. Still keeping pressure is Senators. Maybe a shot. That one's not in. Sean, that shot's high. And they just can't find the back of the net.
And that was a quick counterattack, too. That was fast, for sure. It's Crispy will hit that one in the midfield. What can they do? As you got a good opportunity here for Fargo to force this game 5 and really keep themselves in this series. And if they do force game 5, I have high faith that they will win it based off of the momentum. And I mean, Dorcas ping improving, not by much. I mean, like you said, 30-20 ping doesn't change really much, but it can definitely make you feel different if you're on a different server and one that has just better connection overall. So we'll see what ends up happening, as a touch from Crispy will give Remzik, who has 2 goals in this game, 2 kickoff goals essentially. Ori, he's been a menace on those kickoffs. Fargo has been a menace on those kickoffs.
They really have been, and so far it's really the only thing they've gotten going this game. And granted, it's letting them win 2-0. So, you know, if that's what it takes, is that what it takes? But I mean, we'll see if Senators can respond. It's been really quiet since those first couple seconds of the game. No one's really been able to put one away. Dorka just trying to clear this one out. Another press from Senators to put up some pressure. Crispy towards the backboard. Ends there for the shot. And there to put it away off a nice pass from Crispy.
Cutting the lead in half. And again, the finisher has been the guy really to be on the receiving end of a lot of these touches and has been the person to really score the goals. And with 2:46 still left to go, St. Paul and Fargo deadlocked in a battle. Remzik, though, I mean, you might as well just call him a kickoff merchant. That is 3 on the game and 3 on the board for Fargo. They're back up by 2.
You know, usually kickoff goals and 3s are a rarity, and usually they're kind of like fluky. But I don't know. I don't know if it's just that Steelhawks are playing it really well, or if Senators just kind of don't have the right strategies on the kickoff of who's cheating, who's not cheating, because it's been coming back to bite them. If they haven't been conceding these easier kickoff goals, it would be 1-0 for them right now. Sean rips it towards net, bar down. Don't know if that one was going in or not. The defender helped it again a little bit, but again, you can't just sit there in your net and let, like, nah, I don't think that was going in, but no. I mean, it's not like he gave him any time to react to that. Absolute laser beam towards the crossbar. 2-3 now. Senators, they don't want to go to game 5. Seahawks do. Just who wants it more?
Yeah. As that one is a big goal for St. Paul to stay in this one. And the Senators going to give it everything they got here in order to really give themselves a shot at winning this series. And I think they're going to give themselves a good chance at the end of this game. They've got 2 minutes still left to go. Remzik looking for 4.
Oh,
double tap is in. He's 4 for 4 on the game, and that one was the kickoff goal this time.
That pre-flip from Dorka. Crispy seemed like he had a free ball. Dorka was kind of stuck in no man's land with no boost. Pre-flips into that touch and just passes it perfectly. And then for Remzik to just, I mean, he's been so just lights out with those double taps. That is not what you want if you're Senators. Oh boy.
No. Ooh.
Lights out for the double taps and kickoffs too. You know, the other ones, maybe it's been a position. This is just,
Yeah.
It's something about the kickoffs, I guess, for the Senators team right now. It's just not going their way.
Yeah, they can't get the bounce to go in their direction, and yeah, definitely one that you're going to want back because it will mean the difference between you losing the game and winning the game. As I mean, this is just goal central at this point. I mean, it's who could score more, as this is 8 in basically 3 minutes and 15 seconds. So that one will go in and it'll cut the lead down to 2, and St. Paul just doesn't want to let this game die.
Still a good chunk of game left too, Stewie. And with the way that it's been going, 2 goals aren't really hard to come by. Maybe a third one there, but no, Remzik is there for the ball. Sean, big dunk. Dorka rotates back well to clear that one out, but it goes right to end. Fuego can't make contact on the backboard. Crispy shot, bar down and in again. The shooting from St. Paul Senators has just been... I don't know when's the last time I've seen them not score off of them hitting a bar down and in. It's every single time they're just sniping the crossbars, Stewie.
Yeah, picking the corners, and I mean, honestly, Ori, it's I mean, they're not letting this game die. They won't go away. It was a 5-2 advantage for Fargo. It was a 3-1 advantage for Fargo. Fargo, if they don't win this game, they're really going to wonder what in the heck happened. As that bounce is going to go really awkwardly for End, who has no boost. We'll get 2 touches on the ball, though. Give Sean a chance. He has no boost either, and wondering where the boost went if you're the Senators, because it was obviously stolen by some Fargo evil thieves. Is that one going to go down the field? Fuego's touch. Go right back to Crispy. Crispy plays into the corner. Sean off the backboard. The miss comes out. And another miss. Crispy underneath. He shoots it right at Sean. And that would have been 5-5. Now it's still up. Fine shot this time. Sean's going to score it himself. And it is 5-5.
What a sequence. You saw that earlier from Steelhawks. They weren't able to regain, but the touch from Crispy led it right back out to Senators, and they were able to string together enough passes to find another shot and another goal, which is what they needed. That would have been absolutely tragic if that's how this game ended for them, if it ended 4-5, and that's the opportunity they had. Maybe a counterattack. Crispy can't get back in time. As fast as his little legs could carry him, just couldn't do it. Dorka, beautiful pass out to Remzik, and just so much power behind that one. The shots all game from both teams have just been so well placed and so pinpoint that sometimes the only person that can save the shots is their own teammate.
Yeah, is 6-5. Fargo up back again as they've got 6 goals in this game. Looking to confirm this win, though. Sean off the sidewall. What can St. Paul do with little time? And we know what he can do on this field way back when. Can tie the game at a moment's notice, as Remzik, though, wants none of that. An aerial chance. He's going to do it all himself. He's got 6 goals in this game.
Remzik has stepped up a lot. He wants to see game 5 and just gets it around the entire team. Just get that flip touch, especially, just perfect pop around the defender and just stays with it. Kept it above the crossbar and drops it down right before it. Only so much you can do as a defender. Kickoff shots now coming out from Senators. They need a goal. They need it quickly off the wall. Gets it past one. The shooter is demoed, but End rotates in to try to make up for it. Sean maybe towards middle. End can't get a touch. Neither can Fuego. That player goes missing. Remzik there to clear it away. Flip reset, and we have game 5, Stewie.
Yeah. And we're going to go to that 5th game. I'm going to ask everybody to get to ready up as quickly as possible because I have to play at 4:30. Granted, I have no idea if the team I'm supposed to play is ready, so it'll be fairly interesting. But regardless, we're going to go to game 5. What a game. 6 goals for Remzik on 6 shots. 7 goals by the Steelhawks in that game, and 5 for the Senators. I mean, what are we doing? Are we playing defense at this point? I
mean, Dorka had 3 saves. Like, there were saves going around. It's not that they weren't getting them, but I think just the speed at which these players were getting shots off, especially off kickoffs, is just kind of...
It's ridiculous.
It was a bit... the defenses, neither of their defenses were able to keep up, whether that just be through mistakes or just really good offense. I mean, it just results in games like this where it's just like, you see, like, usually I always tell my team, like, hey, if we're losing 7-5, I don't think our offense is the problem, because if we're scoring 5 goals, we should be winning, right? But when another team scores 7, I think you just need to play a bit safer. You know, there's a couple goals. I mean, those kickoff goals really just came to bite them. There's about 4 that they conceded, but it all comes down to this now, Stewie. Game 5 of this series. Hopefully, it doesn't go to overtime, but you can get your game in. Hopefully, you don't have to forfeit a game. I don't think it'll take that long.
We'll see.
Off the bat, Senators almost getting a goal would be terrible for them if they were to lose this series. Feel like they would be robbed.
Ooh.
And will not let it happen. Puts away the first goal.
And I mean, yeah, it'll be fairly interesting as well if I'm on time for my series. I should be, but and we'll score that one. Has really been a goal scorer today on a goal streak. It seems like as score report for you: St. Cloud, the Flyers taking down the Omaha Buffalo in 4. And that's a big win for St. Cloud to keep their hopes of a better major spot alive. But regardless, that's a bad win or bad loss for for Omaha, as they kind of needed that one to close the gap between Mankato. And based off of Mankato losing today, it could have happened. But as a result, won't be able to do that. So moving on from that, this game 5, a minute in. No kickoff goals for Fargo just yet. St. Paul, I think, have figured those out. Granted, we've only had 2 kickoffs, so now we're gonna have 3. Crispy will get that 2-0 advantage for St. Paul.
And Crispy, he's been really good on the setups and the defensive plays, kind of being an anchor for his team. There he is with a shot. I mean, last game he had multiple bar downs, but throughout the series, more of the anchor role. And there he is, game 5 when they need him the most. He puts one away. Dorka trying to find one of his own, won't find it. Big demo from End if he can maybe get it sent it to a teammate. Beautiful pass to Sean. That was open if he could have put it on target. Maybe he tries to find Crispy to the backboard. Sean cuts in. There's a shot, but it's saved away by Fuego. And a score update for Bloomington versus Rochester. Rochester wins 3-0 against Bloomington. That was another very important game for both teams. And now Rochester closes that gap. They're tied with Jungle for 10th. And only 10 points separating them between them and St. Paul, who is in 8th.
Mm-hmm. And St. Paul, I mean, up 2-0 here in this game 5, have been game 5 merchants all season. Kind of like Burnsville, where they've gone to a ton of game 5 series. And won a couple of them, lost a couple of them as well. But these teams, like I said, both coming off of game 5 wins in week 9
no.
Ew, that one I don't think should have gone in.
Sean, it gets dunked. I wonder if Crispy maybe
no.
Thought End was gonna hit it, kind of hesitated a bit there, and just barely not able to get it out of his own net, and it gives a lot of breathing room for Steelhawks. We've seen what they can do off kickoffs. Won't find it this time. That's a beautiful pass to the middle, but they are overcommitted. There's nobody back. It's an open net. And End, who has just been scoring time and time again for this Senators team, puts another one away in what is a very important game for them. If they get a win here, they jump up to 7th, and then they're tied with 5th as well.
Mm-hmm.
Against the Steelhawks team, who they're contending with for that 5th place spot.
Yeah, Steelhawks need to win this, close it down. They got to get 2 goals, though, in order to tie us up, possibly force an overtime. But yeah, they need this win in order to shut down St. Paul's hopes of jumping them or being right behind them. But Fuego off that backboard, looking for the double, drop it down, and though had the save.
No, they would jump them game differential.
Oh wow. Okay,
Yeah,
so this is even more important. And not to
it
mention that your land spot, Crispy the fake. Crispy gets the 4th on the board. And I don't know what happened here with Fargo's defense. It's kind of a fake from Sean, and yeah, Dorka fell for it. Couldn't read it. Fuego can't get back. This one's spiraling out of control for the Steelhawks, and like we talked about, you know, that land bracket, if you're in those bottom 4 seeds, you only have 1 life to start. Somebody's going out right away. Only get to playing 1 match, which is ruthless at least, but I mean, kind of how things have to be if we want to do a top 8 at LAN. So it's difficult for sure, but regardless, 2 minutes still left. What do Fargo have left in the book of tricks? They do not have any kickoffs, unfortunately.
I was looking at Omaha's game differential instead of Fargo's. Fargo will not drop if they will not drop below St. Paul, but they will be tied for the same spot. The only thing separating them is game differential after this series. If it's going the way of Senators, which it is, 4-1, there is no time left for Steelhawks, but they're gonna have to climb a mountain. Maybe from the sidewall it starts, but no, it saved away. If that was on target, that would have just rolled in. Mere inches separating that from the net, from them getting a second goal here, which would mean so much. Maybe N will just put their hopes and dreams away. Hat trick in game 5. Beautiful pass from Crispy here. Dorka just can't get to that, and it's looking more and more like Mount Everest that Steelhawks have to get over right now, Stewie.
And End has really made a big impact on this series so far. I mean, overall has been scoring a ton of goals. Yeah, averaging over 2 goals a game has really just been the big goal scorer for Ori for St. Paul, and huge step up performance to get them a better chance at a better major.
Sean just denies them with under a minute left. If there was gonna be any hope of a comeback from Steelhawks, it would have to start there. We know how they can be off kickoffs, but you're gonna need a kickoff. So a kickoff goal. Sean saying no. Back down the other end, here he is trying to start a counterattack, but it's blocked away, and Senators are happy to play these 50s in their corner, 50s in the midfield, killing so much time, giving no good looks for the Steelhawks. Every single second matters, and every single second looks more and more dire as they don't put one away, and big clear out. Sean not able to make contact, but the shot is not able to be found from Dorka. Even if it was, would it have mattered? 5-1 with under 20 seconds left would have been the result, but the result of this match is clear cut now. Senators in 5. They take it out from Steelhawks, put themselves in contention for that top 4, for the double lives at LAN, but they still have an entire major ahead of them. They have to get through the Swiss first, and that's their next goal.
Yeah.
And Steelhawks, you had a player play on 120, 100 ping the entire time, and still able to force a game 5 out of what is on paper, pretty solid roster. So nothing to scoff at. They still hold their 5th place spot. Would have been nice to jump up above Omaha if they were able to get that game. They would have beat them in goal differential, but regardless, they're still within grasp of that 3rd place spot for Mankato. It's so much just relies on this major. So like if you have maybe a team that might upset themselves and go out early, you have maybe Mankato that goes out in the 1-3 in the Swiss or something, and anything can happen, but still so much. I don't believe we have anybody streaming the last games of today.
No. So just those 2 that we had on stream, but Senators going to win that one in 5. Take a look at the schedule. Superiors obviously throw out the Atlas, and the Senators just beat the Steelhawks. We will not have the other 2 matches. They'll be starting here in just a bit, but regardless, Ori, still lots of fun. Still lots of Rocket League for sure. Thank you guys so much for joining us. A short return for us. But yeah, I mean, obviously we got a bit of a break until that next major, but it's next weekend. So it starts next weekend. It is going to be a blast. Excited to see what we get. We'll see you next week for Rising Star Major number 2. That Swiss is going to begin, and it's for all the marbles at the end of the weekend. At the end of the next 2 weekends, we will have our LAN team secured, and we'll be ready for August. Regardless, we hope to see you next week. And as always, ciao.